So I'm in film. Because I've always been a really creative soul, I started in different areas that weren't film. I started in animation. I even was dabbling with making clothes. My grandparents are tailors, so there were a lot of things that interlapped, and I even would act prior to getting into directing. And I went to filmmaking and realized, oh, this is something that can combine everything. So it was really something to just bite that itch, because I have so many creative itches, and getting to take control of that and express it on camera, it just felt really fun and exciting to play with so many different aspects.
Why I love filmmaking is I love the collaboration part of it. I love working with other people on set and collaborating on scripts, on the cinematography of films. I also really like the visual image making part of it too. I have a photo background, so I really like anything visual and creating the whole aesthetic in the world of the film I'm making.
I've been directing since I was in middle school. It just felt second nature to me. It feels like it's what I'm on the planet to do, and I can't really explain the love I have for it. I feel like it's not, I don't know how to express that with my words, but yeah, I started directing in middle school and then in high school. My high school film teacher is the one that actually got me out to LA and was like, figure it out. I started directing music videos and commercials in the last 2 years, and then now I want to kind of explore something with a little more emotional substance, so I started acting, and I feel like, I don't know, exploring both at the same time has been so cathartic.
In my films, the topics I like to do is womanhood and the fact that it's never too late to rediscover yourself. And I also enjoy talking about identity a lot. And what inspires me is my family, my hometown in Guerrero, and the people I've met throughout my life. And every single person that I've met, adds into my story as well, and adds to the power of what I want to do and what I want to tell stories about.
I love producing because it allows me to support both stories and filmmakers of color. I think that we really need more producers / people that believe in these stories to make them a reality. I think that traditionally we don't see a lot of women. We don't see a lot of women of color. We don't see a lot of non-binary queer folks in these positions of power. And I think that as much as we want to support filmmakers and have a pipeline of diversity and inclusion to make these stories happen, one thing that we tend to forget is that producing in itself allows for those stories to actually get made.
When I got into editing, it first started off as a hobby. I would just do edits of TV shows that I grew up loving and movies. And then once I joined City College, I learned that you could do that as a job, which I thought that was great. But as I joined the film program at our school, I noticed that there wasn't much diversity. There wasn't hardly any women, and the women that were mostly in there, I could probably count a handful that were actually Latina filmmakers. And so when I continued my journey, I transferred on to Cal State Northridge and continued with editing. And I just saw that there wasn't enough voices, especially Latina voices, and that kind of helped me push myself harder to continue in editing specifically. And when I kind of learned that I was pretty good at what I did, it kind of helped me pursue it even further.
Before I fell in love with directing, I fell in love with storytelling, and that's part of the reason why I love writing and directing so much. I think storytelling is a huge part of our culture and society. It helps people feel represented and seen. Over the last few years, I've been really drawn to tell stories about Chicano history. I think that we are a very large, underrepresented group in media, and there's not very many Chicana directors. That's why I love being a part of groups such as Chicana Directors Initiative, and it allows me to connect with other Chicana directors and storytellers that have the same passion and drive for storytelling and representing our communities and our culture.
I feel like it's so important to bring our community up with us, because I feel like we've been excluded or pushed down for so long that I'm like, there's room for all of us in this. So like, let's help the next generation get there. And like, I have had so many people help me get there. And honestly, like, knock on wood, and I know people are gonna be saying something, but I'm like, I haven't really seen the like quote unquote ugly side of Hollywood. But I think it's because I've been like protected by my mentors and everyone who had to go through all of that, that I'm just like so blessed. So I hope that like I can keep passing on that blessing to the next generation, and we don't have to see, you know, we don't have to work directly with people who don't want to see us on screen. You know.
For my personal work, my biggest inspiration is where I come from. The lineage of women who have done the work before me, both in my family, also artistically. I take a lot from the joy of Celia Cruz as a Black woman, really building a name for herself and really blooming later in her life. I take from Frida Kahlo. I think of just specifically women and artists who were unconventionally themselves, unconventionally beautiful. I take from a lot of people and artists who really paved the way to tell a story, you know, a story that needs to be heard. So I would say I have a lot of Black and brown inspiration.
I don't really have any like favorite work because I'm so critical of my own work, but I do love like working with all the people I've met on set. On every single set I'm meeting someone new, and I love just meeting the different personalities on each set, from different directors that, you know, talk to their DPs in a different way, some people that don't know camera at all, and then some people that do. It's just very diverse, you know. I really like just meeting different personalities, making different directors happy with their visions, and yeah, just growing the community, continuing networking. I love meeting, you know, people of my own ethnicity too. Like I work with a lot of Latinos, Latinas, Latine. I've been definitely diving into more of like the queer community too, being queer myself. Like I love just meeting new people. Like there's so many filmmakers of all different backgrounds. And
ever since I was young, my mom thought that I was gonna go into like something law because of how like meticulous and just like detail oriented like I was. And growing up, like I had a lot of kind of authority figure roles, or I seeked like leadership in some way, shape, or form. So growing into this role felt very natural to me. It kind of allowed me to see film as a whole and see everyone as an individual, you know, and try to keep each department as important as they are to the structure of film. But it also allows me to give a story my full attention from start to finish and give my 2 cents here and there when it comes to something creative, right? Because I feel like most of the times for the creative aspect, you hear about logistics and what we have for lunch and so forth, which is important, right? But what I'm learning in my process as well is that it's okay to give your 2 cents to the director because you're with the story from like its birth. And that's kind of where I'm deeply falling in love with what producing is and where I'm at, just allowing myself to see something from start to finish. And when I do a project, I give my all into it, like my heart and my soul. So I love to see projects from beginning to end, seeing where they go, meeting people, connecting, and figuring out maybe small little day-to-day tasks like who's gonna throw out the trash at the end of the day, and so forth, but it all contributes to one bigger picture, which is making sure everyone feels seen, respected, and heard on set, off a set, pre-production, post-production, whatever it may be.
So when I first moved to California to pursue acting, that was, and still is, my passion. Acting is like #1 for me. I love it. That will always be it. But as I started to learn more about the business and being in these spaces, and seeing that behind the camera was very white, you know, let's be frank, I realized that we should also learn skills to not only be in front of the camera, but behind it, that we need representation behind it. So I was surrounded by so many creative folks, especially Latinx people, that I wanted to help bring their creative projects to life and help support them. So I got into producing. I see my friends talking about such great projects, and I'm like, how can I support them into bringing this to the masses, right? Or to at least our community. So that's kind of why I got into producing, to have more of a hand on telling our stories and getting that out there. And then with styling, I just love clothes. I love fashion. I'm just a creative at my core, and that's just a way to express myself. Acting is a hard industry already, so you have to think of other ways to be in these spaces. So I think of what other abilities do I have? And again, I just don't have to be in front of the camera. I've done all the peeing as well. I'll hold a boom mic, not very well because they're heavy, but I'll do anything to support creatives and honest and truth storytelling.